It's been over a year since Honkai Star Rail was released. The game has already established itself as a very popular and beloved title. However, I feel like it has now reached a different level and continues to prove itself more and more as the new standard of gacha games. Whenever I encounter a new gacha game, I compare it to Honkai, or I wish that some of Honkai's features were included. So let's discuss the reasons and how this game has set the bar higher than ever before. Quick question, what's 4 plus 4? Wrong! This video is sponsored by lootbar.gg. If you wanna top up in Honkai Star Rail Genshin with cheaper prices only using your UID, Lootbar is the best place. Because Lootbar is highly secure, fast, and has so many discounts. For example, if you wanna buy 6k Genesis Crystal, you have to buy them for $100 in Genshin, but here you buy them for $85. Okay, currently there's more discounts and I'm going to buy some Jades in Honkai Star Rail just to prove it to you. The price is $50, but here I'm gonna buy it for $39, and after paying we're done. Okay, and I got him. So it was very fast, I got them in 2 minutes, and now I'm gonna get the Jades. We also got the double top up. Make sure to click on the link in the description if you wanna get more discounts. Anyway, back to the video. Of course, we must acknowledge that this game is a Hoyoverse title. So I will admit, this game had an easier route than others, as any Hoyoverse game is hype no matter what. But that'll only help the game at launch. After that, the game has to prove itself to be good. And the first thing that we saw in it was the fact that it has a very well written story from the start, and it also had some beloved characters, and it didn't have some of the things that people hated in Genshin's story, especially the storytelling, and it exceeded expectations when we reached Penacony. From version 2.0 till now, the story have been insane in almost every metric. It had good storytelling, a very good plot, and the characters, well, at least most of them were well written. The game, although it was a turn-based game, it was being compared to Genshin Impact a lot, because they both have so many similarities at least at launch, but what made it different is the quality of life features that the game had at launch, which made people question why isn't this added in Genshin for over 3 years. And that made the game even more popular, and it was a signal from the devs to say that they are listening, and they proved themselves update after update after update. The game have been getting so many good features and fixing things that the player actually wants, and also adding more endgame content to the game to give characters and grounding more value. And it also made the game have a good balance between hardcore and casual content. Adding Swarm Disaster and Golden Gears make so many people think and try strategies to beat it, and it takes some good amount of time, and it's also a one-time thing and it's not time gated. You do it whenever you want, and this is one of the things that gacha games should do more, which is giving you content that you can do whenever you want without the need to feel that you will be so much behind if you don't do it, or that it will go away, because this is one of the bad aspects of gacha games. And it does exist in Honkai Star Rail too, by the way, with the daily missions, for example. Although it doesn't take as much time in Honkai Star Rail, and they did a good job making it easy to do, but making you forced to open the game daily even if you don't want to will affect your relationship with the game long term. But at least even with that aspect, Honkai is the best at these things, because if you don't play events, you don't miss everything because you can play them whenever you want. If you miss events, you only miss a portion of the rewards, and dailies are easier compared to Genshin. All of that led to a loyal player base, and players were having so many expectations. I hope that the community doesn't get as toxic as the Genshin community, since it's being kinda weird lately, but it is also a very good community compared to other gachas too, since the game is doing a good job at making players not quit the game. For example, in version 2.0 livestream, they made a Q&A that answers so many meaningful questions to the players, instead of adding or answering things that nobody asks for like in other games. But one of the best ways that the devs used to win the respect of the player base is by giving a free 5-star to all the players, since the game won the Game of the Year as a mobile game. That's where the phrase Genshin could never started, and after that the game became even more popular. popular. The free character that they gave to the players turned out to be the strongest single target follow-up character in the game. So it's not just a normal gift, and this free character stayed in the game until 2.1, and it expires today as far as I know, I'm not sure. So they basically gave the players 5 whole months to claim, which is very good. And not only that, the game have been proving itself more and more with the rewards every patch. While Genshin is lacking in its latest patches, giving between 60 and 75 pulls, Honkai Star Rail have been giving between 115 and 130 pulls a patch, which makes you almost guarantee a character at soft pity even if you lose the 50-50. I mean almost, okay? So before you come at me and say, but it's not actually guaranteed, it's a different photo. I know, you need like 152 to get it as soft pity, but you get the point. It's kind of easier than so many other games. So we now know that the reputation of Honkai Star Rail throughout the first year at least is very good. And that's why now for any new gacha game, no matter how different this game is, it has a direct competition with Honkai Star Rail. But the game didn't stop here. Power creep have been a fear for so many players because it can make old characters useless at some point. And to be fair, there is some sort of power creep in the game. Most of it is handled in a very good way. If a character gets power crept in Honkai Star Rail, we get a new character that makes this old character good again. And if you can do that, we add a whole other mode that makes these characters also viable. While I know it might be a double-edged sword because it forces you to pull for those characters to beat the content easily if you don't want to try hard, but it's also a good way to make you feel that almost any character that you will get will be viable at some point or will be good at any time. And changing metas every time will always give content to players and make them try to explore something new. I've said in a video before that changing metas is very good for a game's longevity, especially if you do it the right way. And we can see that in other popular games. If you make the meta that you expect people will like to explore, you will build a community that is always curious, and that gives an element of surprise to the game. For example, we didn't expect that we are getting another endgame content in 2.3. People thought that the game would start releasing dry patches after Pinakoni, but as always, they surprised us. And we're getting again something new to enjoy a new type of gameplay. And speaking of that, Honkai Star Rail also boasts impressive gameplay mechanics. The turn-based combat system adds a layer of challenge and excitement that keeps players engaged for so many hours. So with all of that said, I really think that this is the game that we can call the standard of gacha games. A free game that you can enjoy fully, that is giving you a lot of content that other paid AAA games don't even give. Of course, with ways to make you pay. And it's working. Anyway, let's try to hit 10k subs as soon as possible, and consider joining if you want to. That will help me a lot. Stay happy, stay rowdy, and don't be a baldy.